Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today we will be discussing the negative side to being a mixed couple. Since we are a mixed couple and our channel will predominantly be about us being a couple and what that brings with it, I feel like we owe it to people a little bit to break down that not everything is a walk on roses and not over romanticizing the idea of being a mixed couple, because we both don't like that that's a trend.
Yeah, at least not a lot of people talk about
the reality.
Yeah, the reality, the negative side.
So yeah, today's video will be about that, and I hope that you'll enjoy our video. Yeah, let's get started. One thing that you see a lot in foreign couples, like that the only thing they really seem to be interested in is the fact that you're a different ethnicity. That, like, for example, there's a big thing about, oh, I want to date Asian men. I want to date white women.
Dude, like, what the heck? You didn't like Asians, that's my thing.
And it's a humongous red flag. It is so bad. You don't want to be with someone that fetishizes you because they don't actually see you fully as a person.
Yeah, they don't like you. They just want to date any Asian or any white.
It almost feels like you're being like an experience, you know, like
you're like, an object.
Yeah, like, oh, I had an experience with a white woman or an Asian man. We're not together because he's an Asian man or I'm a white woman. We both admit it would have been great for him if I had been a Chinese woman.
Yeah. It
would have been great for me if he was ethnically Danish, because it would have made everything easier.
Yeah, a lot easier.
You could argue like, oh, but you get more of like a diverse background, but most of the time it means that you have so much to work through all the time. And I think you also see a lot with mixed couples where it's like, look what my Chinese boyfriend does for me. Look, like, it feels kind of icky. We don't want to portray that like, oh, date a white woman and your problems will be fixed, or date an Asian man and suddenly you will have no problems, because it's so far from reality. And you actually see more and more some of the white women that came to Asia looking for the Asian husband, Asian boyfriend,
and then maybe I can get a nice, beautiful Asian boyfriend,
that they end up in like really bad situations.
And also, like, Asian men don't take it as a good thing.
No,
like, it's not good. If you respect yourself,
don't just be with someone that wants to be with an Asian man, because to them you're not special.
You're not you. You're just an Asian man. Yeah, they're dating the stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you gotta fit the stereotype, otherwise
they'll be disappointed. They want to date the guy in the drama. I think Jiayi is wonderful, but he's not the man in the drama. Neither would I want the man in the drama, to be honest. But I know a lot of women dream about this fairy tale, and it does not exist.
No.
No one is a fairy tale character. Don't go for the oppa girls.
오빠, 뭐하니? 여자친구 있어요?
Yeah, I know that right now it's a thing.
It's huge.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of men like that. Like, anime fans tend to have like a fetish around what Asian women will be like. In the future, I think we'll definitely make a video dedicated to the fetish. Another thing is, there tends to be, and I'm gonna make a claim that it's more common that the Caucasian person tends to be the one that causes this. But it also exists in from other cultures, definitely. But that there's a cultural superiority feeling from one person or both people, that my culture's way of doing stuff is the only way or the better way. For example, Italians with Spaniards, they're like, my food is the better food. And if you're that's fine to think that if you're a person who's not with someone from somewhere else. If you're with a Chinese person, that's probably not how they feel, and it seems very demeaning to talk like that. Yeah. An over glorification of yourself and a lack of openness to things that can be done differently.
Yeah, and it's easy for those people to take this into their relationship.
Yeah, I think if you're that type of a person, if you're a big nationalist, or if you're very, very, very into your culture, being with someone foreign might not work for you. And like, you called it cultural bullying.
It is cultural bullying.
But I think it's important when you're in a mixed relationship to look at your culture first.
Yeah.
Criticize your own things first. Focus on those things rather than point fingers at your partner's culture. And it is definitely very hard to do in practice because you're going to say the wrong thing sometimes. You're a gold digger. Or you're just with this person for a green card visa.
Like a lot of Ukrainian women just try and get a guy to get them to America. Am I right?
People won't make that comment if you date in your own people.
At least then you need to have a very big like age difference for that to show up. And again, it affects women disproportionately.
Yeah, and especially our combination, people make a lot of those comments.
Yeah, he must be rich.
Yeah.
We've had comments like that on Billy too. And it bothers me, if I'm honest. Because
it's racist.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also sexist.
Yeah.
Very. Because also, why couldn't I be with him just because he's him? I don't get that part. Funny story. I think I've told you before. But my friend who lives in America was talking to their husband about our situation. And I don't think the country was ever mentioned. They were saying outside of like a beer event. And their husband goes to grab their beer at the bar. Someone who has not been involved in this conversation almost said, oh, she's just with him for a green card. And my friend had to turn around and be like, she's Danish moving to China. And suddenly the conversation shifted like, oh, she's giving away her freedom.
God damn it, that sounds like freedom.
But it's so funny how suddenly the narrative changed. It's so funny because if you had moved to Denmark, people would have thrown it at him.
People always make those like gross comments.
And I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but it's very, very disrespectful.
To make that assumption.
Back up! Mind your business, that's all. Mind your business.
And we should all respect that that's not our relationship.
Yeah.
And you don't need to judge everyone. Sometimes it's healthy to be like, you know what? I'm gonna worry about me. But I am with him for love, everyone.
Surprise.
I didn't move to China for money.
Or green card.
Or a green card.
Now it's 5-star card.
Chinese government contact me. I would love a 5-star card. I'm still not eligible though.
Do you have even 1 star right now?
I feel like people should realize that this will be a problem, but somehow people seem surprised every time. In-law relationships will be so difficult.
Yeah, no matter which country you're moving to.
Yeah, it's already difficult when you're from the same country, so of course now you have a cultural barrier. One of you has had to move probably to be with the other one.
It's very likely you have language barrier.
In China especially, you're from a whole different society because society was very different when they were growing up.
Yeah, because China changed too fast.
I would say we're very lucky this does not affect us at all because our parents are very open to the fact that we're together. Our parents are just happy that we're happy.
Yeah.
But our parents are also very open-minded people on both sides. There's also the fact that they might have racist viewpoints, which is very common.
And it's very hard to deal with because, you know, it's your partner's parents.
Yeah, and unfortunately I think, I can speak for my people only obviously, but I think most of us don't care a lot about racism until we have someone that it affects in our life. And about kids, it's another huge risk factor. A very dark part that very rarely gets discussed that tends to surprise people is, let's say you get divorced. Most marriages end in divorce statistically, both in my country and your country. Most people get divorced. Your kids will now be in a divorce situation.
Yeah.
And in our situation, we live in China. If we have kids together, he has the upper hand.
Yeah.
I will never have the upper hand because I'm not from here. If it was in Denmark, I would be the one that would automatically get custody majority of the time. And a very, very dark reason why that is because there's a flight risk. The person with a foreign passport can leave with the kid. Because kids in most situations automatically have dual citizenship until they're 18. And that makes it so if we were getting a divorce or I could tell he wanted to divorce me, I could snatch the kids.
Yeah.
And just make a run for it. And he would never be able to get us back because there's no exchange policy. And in most situations, even if there is one, it's very difficult to get an exchange of a child that is biologically belonging to that person.
Yeah, so you have the risk that you never see your kid.
There's also the fact that they might be bullied for how they look. Our kid will have like 2 very different sets of lives if they look predominantly like me or predominantly like you.
Yeah.
their life here will change completely. The same in Denmark.
If they look just slightly Caucasian, majority Asian, people would think, I'm just an Asian kid.
Yeah, or they might be seen as minority even.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
As shitty as it is to think about, no one wants to think about this. War could happen, and your countries might end up on separate sides of this, or they might even be at war with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be a lot of Russian-Ukrainian couples, because, you know, they're neighboring countries, of course there will be.
They're basically the same group of people. They speak almost same language.
Yeah.
A lot of Ukrainians speak Russian.
Yeah, and the culture is closely tied together. So can you imagine that your country is suddenly invading or at war with your spouse's country?
That's horrible.
I mean, for us, that's a very real thing that could happen, or at least like conflict-wise, because Denmark is becoming more and more anti-China, and it's insanely upsetting for me to see.
Yeah.
Like, it's very uncomfortable when I open up Danish news and I just have to see like things that are literally lies. We will probably make videos about some of those things, or things that are just
Pure
propped
lie.
up,
Yeah.
or like made way bigger than it actually
Anti-China
is.
propaganda.
It's a big thing, but it could be a very real thing in our future that my country will support aggression against China, and that's
Not what we want to see.
no. I want world peace.
Definitely world peace.
Because,
Very
you know,
badly.
you still love your country.
Like, I don't want my people getting hurt either.
Yeah.
My family is still in Denmark.
Yeah.
My family would never want to see China being attacked. They don't have anything against China, but I know that there's some people that believe everything the media tells them, and let's be real, media tends to dehumanize people abroad, especially when those people aren't the same ethnicity as you.
And there's racism paired with, you know, the hostility.
Yeah, your friends might be racist to your partner, your family might be. You guys will experience racism no matter what. It is impossible. There are slurs for different types of white people. They do get used.
Yeah.
I would say, like, in Cantonese.
Yeah, that slur.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Hong Kongese people, Cantonese people in general say it's not a slur, but...
And also the horse slur
Yeah.
used on white women.
It's disgusting.
大洋马，洋妞。
Yeah.
Like, fetishism is also racism, everyone.
Yeah.
If you want to sleep with someone just because they're a certain ethnicity, you're being racist.
Yeah.
There's the people who will automatically accuse him of being like white simp, which is super insulting. Or people who are like, oh, she's a China simp. I don't like, neither of us like those people. I don't think you should be a simp for any country. That's ridiculous. It would happen way more in the West.
Yeah.
Which is why we live here. It's a big reason we've talked about it. When the man that you're with is not natively from somewhere, your privilege declines in most cases and decreases your safety. Which is why we would experience more aggression in Denmark, because he's not natively Danish and I'm a woman.
And that pissed a lot of people off.
It makes people very upset. Also, when you tell them that that's a thing, they'll be like, we have no racism, but also f*** you for being with an Asian man. I'm always like, that's interesting.
Choices.
Like, I'm not racist, but f*** China. It's like...
Yeah.
I would say this might be the darkest part of international dating. It can be very difficult to gauge someone's personality from afar, especially when you're from two different cultures. The red flags don't always look as red as they actually are. I'll say a thing that I have been confronted with a lot on social media in mixed couples is the fact that abuse happens. And it happens quite a bit. And when you're a foreigner in a foreign country, getting help can be very difficult. Again, the person who's native will always have an advantage, no matter what. Let's say he wanted to abuse me, or I don't speak Mandarin well enough to really be able to explain to a police officer what has happened.
Yeah. Or you don't have a lot of friends here.
Yeah, you don't have a support system. I can't run home to my family,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I can't be like, oh, mom and dad, come pick me up. I could, but it'll take them more than 24 hours to get here. Unfortunately, I think it's underreported
Yeah.
There's also more than just physical abuse. When we talk about abuse, there's also mental abuse, and there's also a tendency that I've noticed that people use to, oh, it's my culture. Sometimes aspects to a culture is not good. There are parts to any culture that should not be accepted by natives or foreigners alike, and that you should criticize. Let's not use that as an excuse for bad behavior.
And sometimes people choose or select certain type of people on purpose to control them.
Yeah.
You know, to abuse them. For example, they select people who can't speak their home language, who are not educated, who can't support themselves.
Yeah, who's from a financially poorer background.
So they can isolate them.
Yeah.
It'd be my ideal scenario that Kathleen would do everything around the house.
And your partner shouldn't use that against you at any point. They should be grateful that you are willing to sacrifice that for them, and you should work together. Yeah. I'm fully aware of what men are actually saying, by the way, when they're like, oh, you got a white girl winky wink face. It's disgusting.
Don't make that face to me. I'd probably
Don't say that. First of all, would you talk about like a Chinese man's Chinese wife that way?
Yeah.
Like, would you? Because I doubt it. And if you do, then I don't know what to say anymore. Yeah. Were you raised by wolves? Like, people in the West have a tendency to assume that, like, automatically when people realize I'm with an Asian man, a lot of people assume, like, oh, she has the Asian fetish.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you could possibly be attracted to an Asian man, which is disgusting. That's deeply racist, deeply also sexist to me as a woman. Yeah. What's wrong with you? As a mixed couple, that every time you have to explain to be like, no, they're actually a great person. We really match each other. Trust me, like my friends and family, especially when they've gotten to see how we communicate, all of them were like, they're meant to be together. My parents are my biggest supporters in our relationship. My friends are like, I'm gonna cry when you guys get married, because they just deserve to be together. So it feels very demeaning that someone that doesn't even know us makes it about like, oh, like white woman, Asian man. Also, like, the weird messages we get.
Yeah, you stay with your okay?
It's illegal in China, so don't do that.
Yeah, or you return yourself to the police.
Homesickness is such a real thing, and trust me, it is so difficult to go through. I would say the first 3 months of our relationship here was very tough for me, because I felt happy being with him, but I felt confused because I had to get used to everything being nothing like what I was used to. Like, I fully was like, I don't even know what to do. We weren't communicating very well because you were very scared about if I would just up and leave, and he felt sad because he felt guilty.
Because you moved for me.
Yeah, but also in my case, I can't just go experience stuff that's similar to my culture here. It doesn't exist because I'm from a small country. And no matter what, like, listening to a new language
it's a lot.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah,
and here you get stared at least I do. It's a lot when you're having a bad day and you just wanna feel normal.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna feel
Sometimes
normal.
you just wanna blend in.
And then again, at around 6 months, around Christmas time, I felt super homesick all of a sudden. Where I would cry. I would be like, I miss my family, I miss my friends.
Yeah.
It's tough. And
we'll make a video talk about it.
Yeah, like the things I miss about Denmark.
Yeah.
Because people shouldn't get the wrong idea. I don't live here because I hate Denmark. I don't hate my home country at all. It's a part of your identity. You don't need to hate your country to like someone else.
Yeah.
I've seen multiple people comment that on YouTube, and I fully agree. I don't hate my home country. There's things I dislike. Just like there's things... Chinese people living in China probably dislike more things about China than a lot of China haters.
But you still have a very special emotion.
Yeah, of course.
About your own country.
It's still home.
Yeah.
And it'll stay home. So this was what we think people aren't aware of when it comes to being a mixed couple, the negative side to it. I hope that you felt that this was a more realistic view of it. Again, we both feel like foreign couples tend to paint everything rose-colored. It's a lie. Your partner being a different nationality won't fix the things you see wrong with society. Trust me. Yeah. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and that you will consider maybe giving it a like or giving us a follow if you're not already a follower. Yeah. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.